Hi, Jonathan York, Bay Financial Partners, looking at investment markets. Earnings season in the US continues to be a little bit mixed. It looked like the sort of small regional banks were doing okay, and certainly the deposits are sort of starting to sort of slow down in terms of the exit. But then First Republic came out and reported a much lower anticipated deposit base, and that has seen some of the regional banks come back under a little bit of pressure. But on the positive side, a couple of the sort of old school heavyweights, GM and GE, have really reported some pretty good results. And it's just going to be interesting now with a lot of the big techs reporting over the next sort of week or so. Alphabet and Microsoft report after the bell today. Just going to be interesting to see what they come up with. Also on a positive side, China's GDP was stronger than anticipated, came in at 4.5%, and that was expected to be around 4%. So again, potentially that's all good for the global economy. Interesting though, starting to see those US interest rates sort of back off a little bit. 10-year is back to just under 340. And the 2 years backed off below 4%, now it's 395. Also as well, the other big news out of the US is that Joe Biden has announced that he will be running for re-election in 2024. That's sort of quite interesting because there's certainly a big debate currently about Biden's age. He's currently 80 years of age. So potentially at present it looks like there could be a sort of rerun of the Trump-Biden presidential election. That's as things stand at present. All the time as well, obviously we've still got the war in Ukraine sort of rattling on. That's now well into its 14th month. Oil's backed off now below 80 bucks, currently around just over $77 and change. A little bit of positive news coming out of the UK. S&P has reaffirmed the UK's credit rating of a AA. Although looking for a minor sort of recession in 2023. Of negative 0.6%. But then expecting the economy to grow at just over 1.5% for the next sort of couple of years. Now that is obviously much better than was predicted by the Bank of England back sort of last October, November, where they were sort of forecasting a real severe recession that was worse than they'd sort of seen in recent times. Still seeing a little bit of sort of protest and industrial disputes in Europe. Berlin airport was closed the other day because of lack of staff. I've still got the ongoing issues in France, re the pension reforms. Now in Australia it is going to be interesting because after the Reserve Bank did pause the last meeting, most analysts and economists now expect a further rate rise at the next meeting. but just 25 basis points. So that would take the cash rate then to 3.85. But overall, again, the Australian economy seems to be pushing on a pretty good rate. There's certainly still pretty good demand for minerals and resources. Also as well, obviously being buoyed by sort of tourist numbers coming through as well. Interesting in housing in Australia appears to be sort of bottoming out now and starting to find a little bit of a base. Important news coming out of New Zealand with the accord now with the Australian sort of counterparties that for Kiwis now live in Australia for more than 4 years, they can now apply for citizenship. And also as well, any child born in Australia will automatically be an Australian citizen. Now that's obviously thrown up some big questions because now potentially, will we see a further sort of brain drain out of New Zealand into Australia? Also as well, getting closer to the budget and, the sort of pre-budget sort of debate starting, in terms of government spending. It looks like the government currently is spending around $1 billion more than they were just over a couple of years ago. So obviously the question on the back of that is now, is that inflationary? But more importantly as well, what are we actually seeing for that money that's being spent? Nearly finished another month as well, and so once we get into May, the election's getting ever closer. And for the Reserve Bank as well, will we see a further rate increase? They certainly surprised the market by putting rates up to 5.25 at the last meeting for the OCR. If they put it up to 5.50, that really could be quite interesting. Certainly house prices continue to fall here in New Zealand. Now it's just going to be very interesting as well, over the sort of winter months to see if those tourists continue to sort of come to New Zealand and spend money. If they do, then the economy looks in okay shape. Now, if you're looking for income options, go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.